All right. Welcome, Kingdom friends, to
Woo woo.
the first ever Dazed Confused in the Dating Pool podcast. My name is Mickler, and this is the lovely Rachel.
Hello.
And yeah, we're going to just have a conversation back and forth of our dating journey, what it looks like, and how we are seeking God's kingdom with everything that we're trying to do, with our decisions. And yeah, we even make some mistakes along the way. But
Absolutely.
God is gracious and He wants to show us what to do. So, Rachel, you want to
Yeah,
kick off with your
sure. I'll
story?
give my introduction. So first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. We This is so on our hearts to do because if you are anything like we are, I love the church. We love the church. We honor the church. We want to be really, really clear that everything that you hear here is going to uplift, strengthen, encourage, comfort. This isn't bashing dating. This isn't bashing guys. This isn't bashing girls. None of that stuff that has no place here. At the same time, I will be honest that I was raised in a culture that taught me how to wait and not how to date. And here I am in my 40s, dazed and confused in the dating pool. And so this is my story. Again, I am Rachel. I am 42 years old and single and dating. And it has not been the most fun experience for me. I'm just going to be real about that. And 20 years ago when I was dating, the rules were totally different. They've just changed so much now. And, to be very transparent and very honest, I jumped as far out of the dating pool as I could get after having been burnt pretty badly a few times. But then, about 2 years ago, God started to speak to me that it was time to get back into dating. And just to give you an idea of where I was coming from in this, I was like, I don't know about this, God. We did that. It didn't go so well. Like, I took those t shirts back to Goodwill. What are we doing? And so he gave one of my spiritual dads a dream about me dating. And this spiritual dad reached out to me and said, "Hey, so Rach, just so you know, I don't get dreams a lot and I don't give people words about dating, but this is what I got." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. God knew that I needed it in like neon lights." And so I very precariously stepped back in. And to be very, very transparent, this was my first reaction when I put my toe in the dating pool. Ugh! What is this? There is algae everywhere. This is disgusting. And somebody definitely peed in this pool. That was very much my
Yo.
first. Go ahead, jump in, Mickler.
No, that analogy, that's so funny. There's someone peed in the pool. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Totally. I was like, get me out of here, God. Why are we doing this? This is terrible. And to be honest, it has not been the easiest journey. But here's the thing, Romans 8:28 is always, 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 always at work on our behalf. I actually heard somebody say this today, and I'm going to throw this in here too, because very often we leverage Romans 8:28 when something is going wrong. And I love the way this person said it. It was actually my spiritual dad, Dub. He said, "How many times do we use God works all things together for our good about good things too?" Because he says, my Bible says all,
Mm.
not just bad things. I was like, dang, that's so good. So, anyway, I want to give Mickler a chance to share his intro, but just to give you a little bit of my backstory coming into it, that, like I said, when I stepped into the dating pool, I was like, this is disgusting. I want out. This is terrible. Like, why am I getting contacted by people that I don't even want them to know I exist? This is, And yet at the same time, Romans 8:28 has been at work the entire time. And so through the good, the bad and the ugly, there is so much I have learned. There is so much that I have grown in terms of myself as a person, in terms of my identity in Christ, in terms of learning things about God, learning things about relationships and emotional intelligence. Mickler, I could nerd out on that all day about people, right? About all of these things. Like there is lessons for us to be learning in all of this. And so, why Mickler and I are here, and I'll kick it off to you in a second, Mickler, is just that, we want to be clear we're not dating coaches. This isn't how to get a date. This
Yeah,
isn't
for
how
sure.
to date. Like, none of that stuff. We don't even have this all figured out. Like, we're literally sharing from our journey. But, Mickler and I have been friends for like 4 years, 5 years now, something like that. We lose track. We were part
Yeah.
of we were part of an online mastermind for Kingdom entrepreneurs. And I can't even remember. I was trying to remember what kicked it off, Mickler, but a couple months ago, you and I just started chatting on Instagram about our various dating journeys and like sharing stories with each other. And then we got into some really deep conversations and realized, you know what? I think more people need to hear this. I think people could benefit from these things that we're learning from our journeys, from each other. And so then one night, honestly, in kind of a rough place, I was like, we should call it Dazed and Confused in the dating pool. And you were like, yes. But I want to be clear that again, this isn't like, oh, dating sucks. That's not the purpose of this podcast. Like this podcast is Dazed and Confused in the dating pool and why it doesn't have to be that way. We are here to bring hope. We're here to bring lessons we're learning from our journey. We're here to be transparent about things we've walked through, our mistakes, again, how God is working the good, the bad, and the ugly, all things together for our good. And also, to remind you that dating is a journey of discovery. That every new person that we meet gives us the opportunity to discover something about God, about ourselves, about each other, and to grow in life. And so you don't have to be dazed and confused in the dating pool. So, with that, I will kick it off to you, Mickler.
I love that. I love that. One, just how you said, like in Romans, it mentioned like we use that verse when things are like going super bad, but like if God is sovereign over everything, like why isn't it just for good? And I love how you also made it clear that we're just on the journey along with you as well. We're not like experts, we're not dating coaches, but we just want to be vulnerable because we've learned a lot of things along the journey. So yeah, for me, I got saved when I was around 22 years old, and I didn't grow up in the church. So yeah, that was like a whole supernatural event. But going into the church, uh, I kind of experienced certain things where it was like almost going after the opposite sex was a little bit taboo. It was unspoken, but just the tension that you would feel from people around you, you could just see like people kind of judging if you were like one on one with the opposite sex. So coming from the world, I just thought that was very odd, and yeah, I just was going along with the journey. So because of that, I spent a lot of time developing my relationship with the Lord, learning my identity in Christ, who I was fully, and also like learning how to grow as a man, taking responsibility, and then also how to develop relationships, learning like confrontation. I know Rachel mentioned like developing EQ, emotional intelligence. So all these things. Oh, plus also actually, and stewarding my body well. In Ephesians, it talks about how the man lays down his life, and we should love our wife how we love ourselves. Uh, One doesn't hate his body, but he loves his body. So unknowingly, until I started like this dating journey, I was like, wow, that's actually a very powerful verse. And I think every man needs to learn how to steward their body before they can um, be with their future wife, because like that's where we are learning to do it out of a place of love instead of hate. So all those things that happen along the journey, I've tried to date as a Christian as well, and that's been pretty interesting. Learning like what is healthy boundaries, um, what does it look like to be physical, what does it look like to honor God with the decisions that you're making, and hearing Him clearly, while all the feelings and the thoughts and the ups and down roller coaster is going on. So yeah, just sharing the journey. I hope it blesses you guys. And
Yeah, I love. Can I jump in, Mickler? That was
oh
so
yeah, of
good.
course.
I love that you shared that because that whole thing about like, the man laying down his life for his wife, right? And like loving himself. Like that is a big thing that I think we're going to talk about on here too, is that how in the midst of the dating journey, it can get discouraging. And I'm going to get emotional. I just want to say, I'm probably going to get emotional a lot on this podcast, just so you know.
Maybe I'll get emotional too, you know?
But if you are feeling discouraged in your dating journey today, Mickler and I just want to say, like, we see you and you are not alone. And God sees you. And we want to encourage you. You know, one of the things that I found myself saying is like, nobody told me this before I got into dating. And I wish I would have known this was a thing. And there's so many things that I wish I would have known. And so that's literally why we're here sharing our journey, because the things that we're sharing with you, a lot of it are going to be things that we wish we would have known, but we've learned on our journey. And whatever journey you're on, whether it's a fitness journey, whether it's an entrepreneurial journey, whether it's a dating journey, whatever journey you're on, there is something so powerful in hearing people who have walked that journey as well share their stories. And so that's what we're here to do, is to share our stories, the things that we're learning, and again, give you hope. And I just want to really pause for a minute and just say that if you are feeling discouraged, we get it and we see you. And I hope if there is one thing that you take away from this episode, it is that you are not alone. From all of our episodes, that you are not alone, that God sees you, which is something we hear so often. But God sees you. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. There is nothing wrong with you. All of these lies that the enemy tries to throw at us. You know, you put one foot in the dating pool, and any security you have ever had in any area of your life, let me tell you, it springs to the surface. I know you would agree with that, Mickler. So, this whole idea of loving yourself first, right? And like seeing ourselves and seeing our identity in Christ is so much where all of this stems from. But again, if you are feeling weary today, we see you, we honor you, and that's why we're here doing this.
Yes, that's right. And even to the fellas too, like we see you guys, you know, like I think a lot of us, we are afraid to like be vulnerable and kind of share and say like, hey, we need help. It's like a macho thing to just be like, oh yeah, I got this thing, like I can get girls, blah blah blah. But in reality, like, you know, it's very hard, we get discouraged and stuff. So again, like I want to be open and honest with like my journey in hopes that it gives you hope to continue on yours as well. And yeah, I think I want to go off of the analogy of the pool, because you
Go for
mentioned
it.
how like when you stepped in it, you're like, oh man, someone peed in there. That's so funny. But okay, so the pool guy was doing his thing the other day, and he was like, hey man, the hot tub is good to go, and it's ready for you guys to just use it whenever you want. But before you hop in, please make sure that you are either rinsed in the pool or you take a shower beforehand. And I was like, oh, why is that? And he said, he gave the, I guess, not analogy because this actually happened. One of the guys that used to live here, I guess, was a bigger fellow, like 250 pounds, and he would go into the hot tub. And I guess because he wouldn't rinse, the guy had to change the water more often because he would notice like the oil and the sweat and all that stuff would kind of mess up the hot tub. And he just mentioned how you can see a lot of those things more so in the, I don't know the numbers, like 400 square foot tub, I don't know, versus like a 4,000 pool in a sense. So I just thought about that, where it was like, that's very interesting, because I think as believers too, we're in the dating pool, but when we start going after God's kingdom, God's heart, that the pool has to get actually smaller for us, because not everyone kind of aligns with those certain ideas. Like, just for example, like sexual purity, I think for us guys, like people will just push that to the side and it's like, oh, that's Old Testament stuff, or that's not even, what God says now, which is very interesting. But I think, yeah, as we step into, instead of the pool, into the hot tub, like things get heated more, and we're in the fire in a sense of like, okay, God, like, check my heart, check my motives, help me do this honoring you. And almost the options get a little bit slimmer too, right? Like, how many more people could fit inside a big pool versus like the hot tub?
Truth.
So yeah. Anything
I
you want
love
to say about
that.
that, Rachel?
Yeah, yeah, I want to jump off of that. I love that because, again, like I'm going to take a little bit different spin on it, but the same thing. Like whatever you've carried with you, you bring into the pool. So whatever you've been carrying, you're bringing into your dating journey. And I just want to give a little side shout out to my dating coach, Jackie Dorman, and her book, The Heart Work, which was the very first thing that I did when I began my dating journey. And it was so helpful. And so I just want to also encourage you to do your heart work, right? Like, first of all, reach out to Jackie if you haven't. We'll put a link probably in the show notes. We'll figure out how to do that, right, Mickler?
Yeah, that's right.
Um, and really, like Mickler was saying, like, God, check my heart. Like, go before the Lord and say, is there anything that I've been carrying around? That can be trauma, that can be emotional stuff, that can be mindsets that don't align with kingdom, that could be all kinds of stuff. That could be also walls, right? That was a big one for me. I'll just be transparent. That could be walls, that could be fear, that could be all of this stuff. So ask the Lord, is there something that I've been carrying that I need to wash off before I step into the pool? Because anything that you are carrying with you will go into the pool. And not only does it impact you, but it impacts everybody in the pool with you. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
That's right. It impacts everyone else in the pool. So let's make sure we're clean when we jump in.
Totally. And obviously, we're a work in progress, right? It's a
Yeah.
journey. But one of the things, like the reason that I was like, this pool sucks, right?
Mm,
Is because all of these people with all of their stuff have all jumped in this pool. And by the way, I jumped in with my stuff too. And so now you got a whole lot of crap going on in that
yep.
pool. No wonder it's gross, right? But if we can do our part to come in clean, and like you said, like it is a different pool for us. And then not only that, and this I'm so excited about that we're going to talk about in this podcast is what can we do? How can we do our part to bring honor to those
Mm-hmm.
around us? What can we do to do our part? Right? It's not ours to, be the rescuer of people around us. But what can we do so that the way that we are showing up in the pool is actually changing the atmosphere of the water in the pool around us?
Yeah, that's right. Cool. All right. So I hope this kickoff handshake episode uh, has helped out in some way or shape or form. But be with us on the next episode as we're going to talk about the deadliest thing that one can say.
That everybody says all the time. Dun, dun, dun.
Are we saying it? No, they'll watch the next episode.
No, I'm so excited. Yeah, and if you like this, make sure that you subscribe, right? You follow, you share this. If you know somebody, if you are on the dating journey yourself, follow us. If you know somebody else on the dating journey who would benefit from the things we're going to talk about on this podcast, please take a moment and share this with them. It would mean the world to us if you would do that.
1000%. All right. So catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.